Next up, we have team Remade in China. Marco Casaza comes to us all the way from University of Naples in Italy. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you.
So how did your team learn about the Wege Prize?
We learned about it because we have some international cooperation through Beijing Normal University that is a big part of the team. And so we have a Sino-American cooperation financed by the National Foundation of Natural Science of China. And so we have also cooperation with Michigan University. So that's how we learned about Wege Prize.
It's truly global. So tell us a little bit about your presentation today.
Yeah, well, we have developed a prototypal online platform that supports decision makers and then would like to support also participatory processes in managing water, energy, food nexus within urban environment.
Wow, fascinating. Well, good luck.
Thank you. So again, good morning everybody and thank you for being here. Cycles, loops, adaptation. Those are keywords in ecosystem, as well as hierarchy, structure. We know so many natural cycles. Let's think about global carbon cycle, water cycle, nitrogen cycle, phosphorus cycles. But we tend to forget one important, crucial cycle, that is the cycle of information, is what creates socio-ecological systems. It's what supports collective behaviors in all animals. It's what supports our speciality, that is connecting all together, as we can learn through Human Brain Project and through Connectome Project. So, it is crucial to know and to understand the natural structure of urban ecosystem as a socio-ecological system that is human-driven socio-ecological system. Since the majority of human population is going to live in urban areas, the trends are still increasing. We are foreseeing an increase of urban population up to 66% in a few decades. So now the point is water, energy, food. 70% of our planet is covered by water. 70% of our body is made of water, but just 2.5% is fresh water. Food is driver of our resources to survive, is the driver of energy. Think about it, the whole humanity needs about 100 billion watts of input to survive, and we have it. Energy is the driver of socio-ecological system, is what enables our socio-ecological structure to exist. It gives us the technology for our well-being and to live as we know, and it might give and support all the people that need it to live in a better way, and think that we extract from primary resources about 10 trillion watts on a yearly basis. That's International Energy Agency data. There is a nexus. So here again about cycles, there is a nexus between water, energy, and food. They are all interrelated. And so again here appears the circularity. But there is also a dark side of the story at this moment. Almost 56%, more or less, of water that we use for industry and for human use is wasted or lost. So it's wastewater. About 1 trillion watts of energy is dispersed through production and distribution networks due to physical limits, so that's thermodynamics, but also due to deficits of efficiency. And then we have all the emissions, and we know how they create problems for climate change. Waste, food, about 1/3 of food in the field to fork chain or farm to fork chain are totally lost. That means 1.3 billion tons lost of food all around the world per year. That is to a huge amount. So, since the most critical situation is going to appear in cities, think about also the increase of megacities all around the world, we have to find a solution to support urban managers first, urban planners, to foresee how their ideas about urban planning could work with a circular pattern, removing out the linear patterns that they are used at. So, looking inside the structure and the system dynamics, and we are able to do that using the system ecology languages that is derived by H.T. Odum and his co-operator studies. He was a system ecologist that focused on a way of modeling system dynamics, and using that, we started to think about an urban circular economy calculator, and now we have a prototype that we've tested for Beijing. Well, think about it, 20 million residents plus 20 million coming from outside live in a space that is 5 times larger than London. So it's an interesting system to study. And so we have, as you used as input, present statistical data. We've seen different management options, so from present technology going up to the physical limit of using all renewables and recycled and reused materials. So it is possible to select different flavors of circular economy and see the results. Which are the results? So it's possible to see the resource cost, the economic cost, and the final resource and economic savings. Now, the dashboard is still not available, so the data are not really useful information yet, but we are designing a dashboard to give the numbers in a more friendly way. You might be interested about the underlying structure and the engine of the mechanism. On the very first line, you can see, well, the drawing of the system dynamics. It's quite complex, but is the design of the food, energy, water nexus in Beijing. It was designed, then numbers were put in, so the resource flows were accounted. The sustainability indicators mean the percentage of renewables with respect to total energy, the percentage of renewable material with respect to the total of the material, and then the performance indicators related to energy performance, meaning how the system integrates with the natural system dynamics, and then economy indicators, and particularly the individual cost of each option, because citizens must know how much they pay depending on their option, and so that increases and supports the willingness to pay, so it can be weighted again, assessed against the real context. There's also team integration. Our team has multiple expertise. I'm a physicist, but we have economists and environmental experts in environmental politics. Then there is the integration with the United States team, so from Michigan through that International Fund of the National Foundation for Natural Science. Then we have our mentors, and we are so grateful to them, Professor Jifen Yang, Professor Gongying Yu, and Professor Sergio Ujati. Well, Professor Sergio Ujati comes from the school of H.T. Odum, but I have also to be grateful to my teacher of ecophysics, a former Princetonian, by the way. So I'm somehow, without ever being to the United States before, I'm somehow bringing back some experience and my love for the United States. So gave a great occasion to my teachers. And, well, of course, just a few things about this pre-prototype. The costs are around $6,000, $12,000, US dollars, depending on the costs that are mainly human labor and basic technology to build a platform, the online platform. So the managing costs and that depend on the economical conditions for the services. Plus, that there is the real need, we know why, no sensible data are real use in individual users, so there is the protection of individual data. Multiple expertise already exist, and we are concentrating them in an existing network. The fact that there is a collaborative building, it is so important because we can overcome the difficulties for the data input because there might be missing data, but having a cooperative design from the beginning, we can just overcome the present difficulties, and we have great opportunities because we can build up the first World Energy Food Nexus data for urban environment. We could put it also in geographical information system environment, so that's a great opportunity, and opportunity of creating interaction between urban managers and stakeholders and citizens, so enhancing cooperative politics and cooperative processes. So while we thank you, we are so glad to show you just a few snapshots from the real website that is online, that is down there. So thank you so much.
Nice job. Thank you. So you're here in Michigan. Now, Michigan, you know, has the largest collection or largest amount of fresh water in the world. Are you going to get the chance to see any of that water while you're here?
Luckily, I will have not enough time, but it is an occasion to return and to come back and to visit again Michigan. And I would like to do that in the future.
So this is your first time in the United States?
It is the first time in the United States, even if my teachers are all grown up here in the United States,
Right.
and they've formed one in Princeton, another one in Texas, there is. Because I have also a background in oceanography, so somehow my background is mixed in environmental physics.
So did they tell you what to expect? Like, how did they prepare you for your trip?
Well, they just said, go on and share your ideas, and here we are.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, what has been your experience so far here in Grand Rapids?
Well, I've just been working for the presentation and discussing with one of my team, another team member that is down in the public, and we've had a lovely meal yesterday with a family here in Grand Rapids.
Wonderful.
They have been so kind with us.
Wonderful.
And so we've had a great experience.
Now, since you've been here and in preparation, did you communicate with any of your other team members who aren't here?
Yes, we did. Well, we are two, and so we work together, staying in the same place. So yes, we did.
Yeah, great. I think they're still working. No, I think they're ready. All right, we'll let them take it away. All
right.
Okay. Hey, Marco. Thanks very much for the presentation.
Thank you.
One thing I think has been missing throughout your submission and in your presentation is any talk of what your circular economy solutions or policies actually are. Why haven't we heard of those?
Right. The point is that, well, as we know, we live more or less in an unsustainable way. The first point is to understand the present structure of urban living with respect to energy, water, and food. So the first point is to go back and understand the design of the real production and the real processes that are behind WEF Nexus. So the first point is to understand it and then change the design to transform it in a natural way. So work on the system, on this ecosystem process design, and ask politicians what are their material solutions they can afford, and look to how we can transform it using the language of system ecology. So, I mean, what is missing, it was in the complex graph that was up there, that is a graph that is used, it represents the system dynamics. So we can make it either linear or circular it depends on how you draw it, I mean, but you can change the loops inside it and see how the interconnection change and the fluxes change, because there is an assessed algebra in scientific literature with respect to that, and so you can just see how the changes, the scenarios change. And that's what exactly appears at the end for the end user. You press a button and you see, I want to see the present scenario, say, oh, it's awful. I say, I use half recycling, half reuse of material. You press a button. I want to push the system toward a totally circular economy, and you see how the costs change. So how courageous you can be using different political approaches.
How confident can you be that the algorithms that power the graphs and the scenarios that we would see in the future based on the policy decisions, how confident are you that they are accurate?
Right, I'm confident because what the graphs represent are not only material flows, but available energy flows. So what the graph represents is what arrives from nature, what energy, available energy, so it's not the real energy we use, is all the energy that pumps up and makes the system alive. So calculating what is really available from the sun, converted into nature, and coming into processes through fossil fuels to anything, you can really know what you can rely on. So knowing that, and knowing the structure of the processes, the real ecosystem, human ecosystem structure, you can understand the flow of available energy into the different processes, and if you change a part of the loop, you know how this flow can be dispersed or really loops into a natural way.
Excuse me, sort of to follow along on that question. If we accept your assumption that the model and all the algorithms and algebra in it is accurate, then the success of the solution depends very heavily on the quality of the data that you put into it. So I'm wondering how you plan to ensure that the information provided to the algorithm is accurate, and so you don't end up in a situation where you maybe you've heard the expression garbage in, garbage out.
That is absolutely right. The point is having a cooperative process in the design of the solution for each urban environment. This means that if we have an open access solution, I am willing to give good data to you because you are giving me the guarantee of success for my policies. And so since I am the urban planner, the urban manager, I want to remain and to preserve my position on one side. On the other side, I can look at different solutions all around the world because since this is an open platform, I can visualize different urban solutions. I can improve, if my data are correct, I'm interested in giving correct data to the central node of the network because this enables me to compare policies and solutions with other different urban environments with different cultural contexts. I am not speaking about participatory process yet because that involves also emotions and personal involvement. So I would say this goes more to art and communication and performing going to feelings. And this would be also really important, a real integration in communicating the ways, the pathways through some performance way that are typical of performing or figurative arts. That would be really important. An integration of science with a new way of communicating it, integrating with social science, but also with performing arts and figurative arts.
Are you pursuing peer review of your models in the forum that an academic paper would be published?
Well, there are thousands of papers about that because there are HT Odum works and going on that are published in science and going on. So it's a few decades, several decades that all this way of analyzing the system is peer-reviewed and is still increasing and continuously updated.
But is the way in which you integrate all of this information together, is that model?
Yes, there are. We have published papers about that. Yes.
Yeah.
All models are a simplification, of course, and my concern here is that, you know, as a high-level policy planning tool, there are, at least in my evaluation, things missing from just water, energy, and food. There are other inputs. So how are you accounting for things like clean air, toxicity, labor, investment flows, and building an infrastructure that are also happening in urban areas?
Right. All processes have, well, let us say 4 parts. You need energy to keep up the structure. You need energy that is accumulated individually. You have a part of energy that is transformed into real worlds, and you have some dispersion. You have byproducts, what we call and consider byproducts. That's not natural, because byproducts don't really exist in nature because they flow circularly. The point is to understand well, the use of available energy, that is the sum of all these terms, let you understand everything flows within it. And so also the dispersed part, the dispersed labor, the missing efficiencies, everything flows within it. And since you have a cumulative effect of what we call wrongly byproducts that don't exist in nature, and what is positive within the system, well, it's all accounted within available energy, not within energy, but within available energy, yes. And so it is possible indirectly, I mean, to have an energetic equivalent of the structure. Obviously, the point would be the exact conversion of money with respect to energy, so there is an equivalent ratio that depends on GDP, so it's on national basis. But inside that, there are also traditional footprint indicators. I mean, this is just a part. So also traditional footprint indicators are going to be integrated in the pre-prototype and finish up in the dashboard. So we are working on that.
Okay.
I have one more question, which is, how do you know that this calculator is going to lead to sustainable outcomes? Have you validated that that when you change the model and you infer?
Yes, we are publishing and we are working on that exactly now.
So you're working on that now, but you haven't proven yet.
Yes, we have already in the case of Beijing, but we are making comparative studies to look at that, and particularly to check which is the ratio of sustainable resources coming in, and particularly working on this calculation comparatively for different urban environments. So,
yeah, I'm actually going to jump in and modify that. I can see how this would clearly help cities manage or create more sustainable outcomes. It's not clear to me how it helps them make more circular outcomes.
Yeah, that depends on, well, you draw it. I mean, you draw the circular economy patterns and you ask the urban planners to choose different paths. So you have a collaborative process of drawing various circular economy levels, from basics, saying, knowing I cannot change my technologies, but I would like to have more circular situations, to I want to invest to more circular solutions, so change my technology, I have the will, I have the money to invest on that immediately, so what is the outcome? So we develop together cooperatively different designs, and the outcome is helpful because it's an immediate visualization of the different paths, saying, I'm willing to invest immediately, I will invest in 10 years because I cannot do it now, so that is really the way of supporting. It's, you can choose your level, where you want to be immediately or in 10 years, and you decide also cooperatively with citizens what you can do or what you would like to do, depending on your willingness to invest and on your technology level, so if you can improve it or not. So this is a solution that can be applied also to poorer conditions, to poorer countries where investment are not immediately ready for a technological change.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks. Marco, nice. Congratulations. Good job.